Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another Red Jacks on podcast with
Woohoo!
almost Red Jacks on. We're down by one
One Charlie.
C word. Yeah, Charlie was the C word that I was going for.
One
one man
C
down, one man down today, but we still got three of us, so we're gonna power through. And what are we doing on today, boys?
I don't know. You ain't told us.
You haven't told us.
Fast and Furious, yeah.
Yeah! Just to put it out there, it's
Come
Rikesh, Frazer and Serhan because someone didn't introduce the names. Yeah!
Oh, my bad.
He's new.
With me today is
Come on, Frazer. Frazer, it's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Me, Frazer.
And me, Serhan. It throws us off when there's not
That's
all
so
four
big.
of us here hitting the order. It throws everyone off. All I know is I go last, and Frazer, you go one before last. That's it.
Did Rick say his own name? Hello,
He did say his name. He's
He
here.
did. Okay, you have
He
to
did.
edit this really well.
Hey guys, welcome to Red Jack's On. It's me, Rick.
there you go. Cheers, mate. I'll
Yeah,
chuck
no
that in there.
So, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious
Wom,
indeed.
wom, 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 wom.
Speedy Cars. Yeah, the
What
Speedy
franchise?
Cars franchise.
Bum,
Yeah.
bum, 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 bum.
It's the
Bang
gift
on,
that
mate,
keeps
bang.
on giving.
Yeah.
Is this a gift or is it a curse? One of the two. Debatable, I think. But
It's the
right off the bat,
definition of like an oversaturated series.
yeah,
But it
100%.
gets away with it.
Somehow
Keep
it
getting
gets
away with
more and
this.
more ridiculous. So right off the bat, like, how many of the movies have you seen? There's 10 main movies, like a few random spin-offs and a random animated series, I think.
Animated series.
There is an animated series for Fast
What's
and
next? The
Furious.
fucking like they saw the Matrix Revelations or the Animatrix. They were like, oh, we could do that.
Oh, that could be kind of cool. If they did it like an animatrix sort of thing.
I've seen more than what I would like to. I've only, you know what? Out of 10 films, I've only made a conscious decision to watch one, but I've ended up watching probably about 4 or 5 of them.
Which was the one you made a conscious effort to watch?
You showed me Tokyo Drift, and I participated. I was like, all right, let's sit down and let's watch Tokyo Drift, and I enjoyed it. I might have watched number 1, possibly like okay to watch it, but apart from that, all the rest have been like, we're going to cinema or it's on TV, and I'm like, all right, fine. So yeah.
It seems like it was like I guess most series start off this way. Like they throw out a movie with a cool concept, and then they're not sure if it's going to catch on. But as with this series, like when it catches on, it becomes more and more of a blockbuster Hollywood kind of title. They throw more money at it, and it just gets more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think I kind of started watching them, and I get less and less interested as they've gone on.
Yeah, I mean, same. I think I haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen 10, but I think I'd seen up to 7. And then because I read this a while ago, I read the whole Fast and Furious one a while back. I actually watched 8 and 9 a couple of weeks ago, just to so I knew what I was talking about, and it definitely just carries on getting like it gets bigger and more ridiculous and stupid. But yeah, it does exactly what you think it's gonna do. But
I think I haven't watched 9 and 10.
Yeah. Okay, so you've seen a lot more than I thought you would have seen, to be honest.
I don't
thought you would
remember
have seen, like,
2. I might not have seen 2.
I think 2 was probably one of the more flops, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think I know
2
why.
didn't 2 didn't know what it wanted to be.
Yeah, it kind of just still feeling what it was, just trying to do a bit of the same as the first, but a little more bigger and better. But yeah.
Are we gonna take this like movie by movie, or are we gonna just talk in general?
We're gonna go. I've written up a little bit about each of the movies.
Okay, cool.
So we can go through it, but major spoilers. If you are planning to watch these movies,
In order,
spoilers.
in one go.
Yeah. But just to get a little bit into it, so there's 10 movies total, with a couple of random spin-offs. Hobbs and Shaw, I think, is a random spin-off. The first OG film got released in 2001. Fast and Furious was released in 2001. How old was I? 2001. 9 years old.
What,
Damn.
9? Dude, wait, we're in 2023.
No. In 2001 was when the first Fast and Furious film got released.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was 9.
Oh, you were 9. What?
Yeah.
I thought you
would've
said
been
it.
10.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was 9 years ago. I'm like, Rick.
Oh no.
Dude. Oh, mate.
I was 9
Yeah,
years
sorry.
old.
Yeah, you were not. Wait, was we 9? Oh my God, you're right. Oh, whoa. 2001 never feels too far. When people say anything in 2000, I'm like, it's not that far. And it's like, you were 9. I was like,
Yes.
what the hell? What the hell?
We were in the prime age for Fast and Furious 1 back in 2001.
Absolutely.
And Fast and Furious 10, the latest movie, got released a few months ago in May, and it's reported that is supposed to be the last Fast and Furious film.
Split into 2, part 1 and part 2.
I mean, like, they say this, but this movie does make a lot of money, so it wouldn't surprise me if they try and like reboot the whole thing under like Furious and Fast #1.
The franchise makes a lot of money. The last film didn't make nearly as much. I heard it's a little bit of a flop, apparently, or at least box office openings or weekend. But yeah, I'm on your page of if they find like if Hobbs and Shaw would have kicked off, they would have followed that slipstream and made its own thing.
Yeah,
they might have split it into 3 parts, from what I'm reading. Because I was looking at the movie list, and it's like there's an untitled 12th film, but that 12th film might be Fast X Part 3.
Fast and Furious
instantly sounds like to me they're making part 3 as like a leave it on a cliffhanger kind of thing, so we can maybe reboot it again at some point down the line. That's kind of what that sounds like to me. This
is the Fast and Furious franchise. I'm Vin Diesel, but I'm actually I sound more like Sylvester Stallone. I'm trying to break it.
Yeah, a little bit. But might be surprising to hear that the Fast and Furious franchise is the 7th highest grossing franchise of all time.
Only 7th.
Only 7. There's a lot of franchises.
They've been throwing these out. Does that include that Shrek? Is Shrek better?
I think Shrek was lower on the list than Fast and Furious when I saw. Obviously, MCU was like topping it. But 7th is still not bad. 7.33 billion at time of writing was how much it's been making. So clearly, it's doing something right. Whether it is just doing insane shit over and over and over again.
Spectacle, isn't it? It's all spectacle.
See, like Fast and Furious, like look, Fast and Furious franchise doesn't actually piss me off. Like for me, I would say not pissing off, but something like Fast and Furious franchise has slowly pissed me off a little bit more as it's gone, because it just seems like a massive ego contest. Yeah, and it's been so much like real life bullshit controversy and advertisement, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I feel like the Expendables franchise is something more stupid for me, but the Expendables hasn't been out long enough to annoy me. I'm like, all right, cool, 3-4 films, fine. Let's talk about you in your 10th film. I prefer the Fast and Furious franchise to something like the Michael Bay Transformers franchise, which is just more
explosions and
more explosions. I can sit there, right, good speakers and good screen. I can sit and watch Transformers. But Fast and Furious, I can watch it and enjoy it. There's a tiny little bit of heart there, and I think the only reason I don't mind it is because Transformers pretends to be something else that it's not. Fast and Furious, to some extent, knows it's out of the box. It knows it's trying to be bigger and more climactic and more stupid. And I think that awareness is where my forgiveness is. But I think they confuse more with depth. Like, if that makes like the MCU, people can argue it has that same more mentality, but there's so much lore in the MCU that it gets deeper into the lore, not just let's make it a bigger explosion. And I think that's where like I stand with the Fast and Furious. It doesn't bug me, but it doesn't attract me at all.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of like in the same sort of thinking as you. Like it's
it's kind of like when they go into the whole action side of it as well, like moving away from vehicles and stuff. That's the kind of the most it goes into trying to branch out, I guess.
They're all heists. Every movie has become a heist. Look, the only long-term franchise that has, in my opinion, worked and reinvented itself, and it shouldn't have lasted, but it has, is Mission Impossible. That has done so many films. I'm not saying you're going to enjoy it, but it does what it does well.
Yeah, I mean, Mission Impossible, I kind of see as another one of those things in the same way as Fast and Furious. Like I've seen a few of them, but I'm just not bothered. Like it's a spy movie.
No.
Okay,
it's
it
formulaic. It's formulaic.
I feel like if I'm gonna want to watch a spy movie or something, I'd rather watch James Bond. Like I feel like Mission Impossible is like the try
like
hard.
A true Brit. I like James Bond.
Like the try hard little brother is Mission Impossible. That's how I kind of see it.
My name is Bond, James Bond.
Mad. But yeah, I mean there are like a few franchises that do the same kind of thing, that they expand on it and try and get bigger and better, like, and it just gets more stupid. Like Jurassic Park was like one of the first ones that popped into my head.
Yeah,
it just gets very like the dinosaurs just get bigger, and now they can camouflage, and now they can block EMP signals, and now it's half robot and can control the internet, and it just gets stupid. And it's like, where are you going with this?
Standing out in front of them with his hand up, like stop, and they're all like, all right, okay, you found our weakness. Kryptonite.
Star-Lord.
Have they attached guns to a dinosaur yet? I'm surprised they haven't done that.
No, but I'm guessing that will be the next step in the next Jurassic Park.
It just opens its mouth. It's like, da, 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 da. Chris Pratt's there like,
tail
stop!
is actually a turret. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Sorry, man. We're getting a bit...
No, it's cool. John Wick. John Wick is another one I kind of class, like, the first John Wick movie was fucking amazing. But then it kind of felt like the second one tried to top it, and it was like more action. And then the third one did the same thing, and it just kind of went a bit more insane. And like, am I the only one that thinks that about John Wick? Everyone seems to love each one.
It's the trend that films do have to follow, though. Like, in a way, they do have to top what they've done last time. It's just how far they go out of their lane to do so, I think.
Yeah, but topping it is like, is it? I think that's phrased as how far out of your lane. Like, there's franchises like Mission Impossible that take the same formula and they rinse and repeat it, but they change the components enough where you can feel like it's different. So it's like heist, big stunts, going off the map, going rogue, cool. That's the steps. Something like Fast and Furious takes the same thing. They do the same thing, but they go, we're going to go bigger. Something like the MCU gets bigger and deeper depending on your like. But it's to top it in a franchise does not mean it has to be the same beats or the same components. It just has to impress you in a different way with the same setting and characters. Like, I know something like Lord of the Rings might be a bad example because it's one story chopped into three, but every film impresses you in a different way. Does that make sense?
I feel like Lord of the Rings is like a franchise that keeps on getting bigger because it's justified in the way that it gets bigger and better because there is so much around it. It's not just the same story, rinse and repeat it and make it bigger for the sake of it being bigger. Like, there is a reason for things.
Between like depth or just piling on top.
But I think you've said it perfectly. When there is a genuine full human motivation, you can justify everything else around it. You can even suspend belief. Like, that's why I think like John Wick worked, because it was about the puppy that represented his wife and so on and so forth. And don't get me wrong, I love John Wick. I'm still looking forward to watching number 4. I haven't done it yet. I'm not chasing it, but it is like there was 1 gun, 2 guns, 3 guns, 5 guns, and it knows what it is. And I'm happy. I'm happy for that. I can have that as my guilty pleasure. And I just think, yeah, Fast and Furious just kind of knows what it is. It's done the same, and people really enjoy these franchises. I think it's when people are like, "This is not my favorite. This is the best. This is movie making." I'm like, go away. Just go. Leave me alone. I can't.
Like that.
I can't.
I've heard people liken it to anime, like especially these later
no.
ones, because
Well,
because of how crazy like things.
I think
Okay,
that
in that sense, then yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
an observation. That's not necessarily a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there is like a few scenes in the movie that are like later on in the series, in the franchise, whatever you want to call it. And some of the scenes when you watch them, I was literally just like, what the fuck is that? How is that possible? It gets ridiculous. It does get ridiculous in like an entertaining kind of way, and I think that's where
Yeah.
it comes from. Like it knows that it's being stupid at times, and it kind of does make fun of it. But
Yeah, 100%. I would happily watch some of these movies with you guys and just have a laugh.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's where it's at now, really.
Yeah.
yeah,
Have
it's,
a little
it's
bit
not
of good
something
time.
you take super seriously. I remember I used to hate when these movies came out, like when I was working at the cinema, because
Oh yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
whenever a Fast and Furious movie came out, people would just be so gassed and get so into it. They would like, I remember like the late night showings on on like the weekend and stuff. You have like people doing burnouts and everything, like just
Oh.
doing donuts and going crazy as if they
Oh,
were like
McDonald's
Dom
car park.
Toretto. Oh my god, mate! They would
Racing up
just
and
be
down the
all
A10.
over the place. I fully remember like one of them came out. I don't know which one it was. It would have been a while ago, but there were so many people like in the underground. Remember where the car park is underground? There
Yeah.
would be so many people in there, like literally doing burnouts and like whatever they were doing. Like, they would set the smoke alarms off, and so often, like the ambulance, or like the whole building, the fire alarms would go off like in the cinema because of all the smoke, and then
Oh
the
no.
ambulance would come. We'd have to literally evacuate everybody from the
Oh,
entire cinema out on the street. It was
no
fucking
idea
ridiculous.
that kind of stuff went down.
Oh
People
man,
are crazy.
No, Rick,
fucking.
it's awesome. It's fast and it's furious.
So we'll do like a quick little rundown. I say quick, it might take a while, but we'll go through the films one by
Mhm.
one
Gosh.
and just see where we're at. So the first film, the OG film, Fast and Furious in 2001. We've seen one, right?
Yeah.
So the OG film introduces the main characters like Brian, played by the late Paul Walker, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Dominic Toretto as Vin Diesel, and a few others like Dom's girlfriend Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Mia, I can't remember her name in real life.
Yep.
Jordana Brewster, I think is her name. I think that's her name. That sounds about right. But it's about Brian, the new kid, trying to get a footing in the world of racing, and he takes on the best, who is Dom. But Brian is actually an undercover detective.
What?
Amazing! Did anyone see that coming? No.
Oh my god.
Shock horror. He's actually undercover investigating Dom and his crew on suspicion of being the group responsible for holding up trucks and stealing these high-tech goods. If you remember that scene.
They are very 2001 DVD players. That's how high tech the shit was.
It was like all like underground neon, like Need for Speed neon under the cars and everything.
Oh
It
god.
was very
That's the
2001.
equivalent of like the 90s trainers when you would step and the lights would flash. But in the 90s, we were like, I want that. I want that as a kid.
Yeah, it was amazing though. Remember that first one, like the race wars in that first film? We had like
Mhm.
all the cars doing like the drag races and everything. It was actually sick. The first movie was
It was
timeless. I think.
awesome. It was a person story. Like it was character centered.
Yeah.
About this underground street racing and this police, getting on with the criminals and all of that drama and stuff, man.
Mm.
It was not the Fast and Furious now. It was good for the time.
And then like that kind of duplicity that Brian Paul Walker had to have, going in as a cop, but then kind of like getting into it all and falling for Mio and then
Yeah, man.
having to make that choice then.
Yeah. The first one was actually a really good story. Like it wasn't stupid. It kind of just had the cars as like a side thing, but there was an actual story to it, and it was really good. So critic reviews on this film, according to Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave this film a 54%, which I think is bullshit. The audience score gave it 74%, which is better. I
Yeah,
think I'd give
yeah.
maybe somewhere like in the 80s. I think I'd give it if I had to give it a rating. Where would you guys put it?
I think I'm putting it around 70, something like that. It's a good film of its time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it released around, but you know, between like 2000 and like 2005, there were a lot of good films coming out.
Yeah.
And it's the first of a series trying something new.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of. I think Gone in 60 Seconds was something similar, the closest thing we had to it at the time, which I think was like a few years before.
Wasn't there a Burnout film?
Don't think
Burnout film.
Was there a Burnout film?
That was a Burnout film.
I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know. I'm just.
I
Because
don't
I know there
think
was a
so.
Burnout needs to be. You know, I would say Fast and Furious as a film, I would give it a 7 out of 10 as a whole. But I think with now hindsight, looking at the whole franchise, I would rate this easily like an 8 out of 10. I would say.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I would say that.
So the budget for this movie was an estimated 38 million. When on opening weekend, when it released on June 24th, 2001, it made 40 million. So 2 million in profit on opening weekend. Gross worldwide went on to make 207 million from a 38 budget movie.
So
movie.
it wasn't super popular in America on its like opening night, but then like internationally it went kind of like super mega.
Kind of, yeah. That's what it looks like. There's like a gross in US and Canada figure for 144 million. And then gross worldwide was 207.
Yeah.
So I guess I made an extra 60 million worldwide.
That is how a franchise like this survives, though. It can't rely on domestic box office alone. It needs a worldwide audience, and it definitely has that.
And it definitely nailed it because it went on to make an extra 9 fucking movies. So,
and that's the end of the podcast.
Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate you listening. So number 2, Too Fast, Too Furious came out 2 years later in 2003. What are we feeling? Remember the story for number 2? Or should I give you a quick little?
I don't remember anything about it. I'm not sure if I properly watched it.
Yeah, I've got little synopses. Like I'm looking at it now. All I can think of is the name. I just love the idea of people sitting in a boardroom, be like, right, want to make a sequel? What the fuck do we call it? What the fuck do we call it? And they just spitball. And one guy is like, Too Fast, Too Furious, but with the number 2, and it's like, yes. This
give this man a raise.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, it's very dated, the name. But a quick little rundown. So this is the first movie where you meet Roman, who is
awesome character,
Brian's best mate from a long time ago.
Yeah.
So Brian is packed up and moved out to Miami and is now the main man on the streets, just like Dom. We get to meet a few extra characters this time who would go on to be recurring in the franchise, like Taj, played by Ludacris, and Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese. Brian has to go undercover again to help another undercover Fed, played by Eva Mendes, to help take down the big bad drug dealer dude, who is just up to no good.
Bad boy, naughty guy, up to no good.
This is the movie where they put the rat in. It was in the nightclub, but they had the rat and they put it on under that steel bucket on that fat police dude's.
Yes. Oh yeah.
No.
They heated up the bucket so the rat has those like scratching. Do you
They
not remember
did
that
in this
scene?
film.
Yes, the torture scene.
I've seen this scene somewhere, but I didn't think it was Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, dude, fucking that was like extreme shit. That was full on torture in the middle of a night.
That's something from like Saw or something.
We went full Scarface. But yeah, the end of the movie, they Duke Hazard off the boat, off the ramp onto the boat somehow, and they fuck up the bad dude's thing.
Typical
Yeah,
car stunts.
it was okay. It's not my favorite movie of all of them.
It's forgettable.
Yeah, I can easily sort of skip it.
Did they lean more and more into the like car racing, vehicle stunts kind of stuff in this one?
They kind of did.
About
There
the
was
same
a scene where they went, and remember when they went? Oh, they had like a whole plan, and they went into they were being chased by the police, and they went into the garages, and all the police surrounded them, and all the garage doors opened up, and then like a whole fucking army of cars come flooding out.
Yeah.
That was Too Fast Too Furious. It's mostly like car chases and stuff. There's not too much racing. There's like a cool little drag race in there. But
Right.
Was this the
yeah.
movie that it got super CGI? The car racing, because I know the first one was very hardcore, and then the second one of them becomes very, very CGI based for like
there was
a period.
a fair bit of CGI in the movie.
It's
I don't know
being
if it's this
very
one you're
noticeable.
talking about though. I mean, yeah, the CG for back in the day, it wasn't amazing that they used for these movies. But to be fair, I think they actually just made a lot of the cars, like repurposed old cars and put new bodies and new shells in them and everything, just for the sake of crashing them and fucking them up. So they made like a lot of different cars.
I will give this movie or this franchise one bit of credit is like, you know how we went through the stage of like 90s to 2000, like every film had an EMP, and in every film they explained it, and it became normality. This was the film, like movie franchise, not counting games or anything else, that was like Nos, like really brought it into like the like society's consciousness, and it was just I was like, oh Nos, just press a button.
Yeah, Nos, nitrous, whatever you want to call it, it's become like a staple in a lot of games, movies, whatever. Like, it's just like a common thing now. Everyone knows what Nos is or nitrous because of this movie, probably. To give you some numbers, budget was 76 million, so almost double the first. Opening weekend did 50 million, so 26 under budget. Went on gross worldwide to make 236 million on a 76 mil budget. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
Not bad. Not bad for a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, critic reviews gave it 37% for this one, which, I can understand. Audience reviews gave it 50%, which I think is also understandable. It's not an amazing movie.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where how you would review it at the time versus how you review it now, I feel like would be different. Because I think at the time I could say 5, 6 out of 10. Well, now I'm like 2, 3, maybe 4 tops out of 10. Like it's really weird when you look at it all laid out versus at the time.
Yeah,
I think it done the job well.
It did.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm pretty sure that I might not have watched it is because like Vin Diesel isn't even in this one.
No.
Or the next one.
I mean
No, he's not in this at all.
No, he's not. Yeah, you're right.
It's in the next one that we jump to. What were you thinking of?
Yeah. So, third movie, Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. I'm gonna do a Charlie. Best one ever. Fight me. I promise you, this is the best movie in the franchise.
They did step it up.
I can rewatch this movie over and over and over again. It's just so fucking sick.
This was the most balanced of like suspend belief anime, like the villain, drifting driver and all of this business, and like the real life stuff of like, okay, this guy's coming, he's drag racing in the States, he comes to Tokyo because for X, Y, and Z reason, and now he has to learn how to fucking do this, and it's like some of the best stunt driving and drifting that I've seen.
Yeah. And it's not like a lot of the drifting scenes that you see, a lot of them aren't CGI. They're like legit.
No, they're real.
Drifting scenes. Yeah.
The scene with when he's learning to drift, and I think he's driving by like a pier or a bridge or something. You see two like, I think like Japanese or Asian sort of fishers,
Japanese
They're the
fisherman, yeah.
two. They're the two real stunt drivers for that film. They're the ones been doing all
yeah.
the stunts.
Yeah, the one I just remember the one in the blue jacket. He's actually like the world champion drift racer in Tokyo at the
That's
time. He was like
fucking awesome.
the real DK. Yeah, he was actually the drift king. He did a lot of the stunts for that. Like I remember, and the scene you talk about where Sean's learning to drift.
Yeah.
That was actually the guy, but he was struggling to make it like to fuck up the drift because he was just naturally doing it so well. He was like consciously having to fuck up his own drift to make it look like a
So
beginner.
he looked like a
Yeah,
novice.
it's kind of mad.
That's a hard thing to do, man.
Yeah,
I guess this film kind of did with drifting, like what it done with NOS. Like it just with games and everything else, like drifting just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
So they kind of take these things and they're like, how can we make this look crazy and cool and
this was I think this is
stylistic?
still the time when Fast and Furious wasn't like new. It'd been around, but it was still like a serious thing. When a new film came out, I was like, oh shit, Fast and Furious is out. It was like that kind of hype to it.
Well, it was 8 years. No, sorry, it was 5 years since the first film. And I give them their dues. For a third film on a franchise, I know it became a movie universe. They've done something I've heard or seen a lot in other franchises, is they completely changed the cast.
Yeah.
Like completely. And location.
Yeah.
And to my understanding,
like they tried to reboot it.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a soft reboot. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that was the idea for it, but then the reason that it kind of flopped, I'll get onto it, was because it was rated very poorly. It didn't do great numbers. It was the lowest domestic box office success in the franchise. How much did it made? It made 158 million gross worldwide on an 85 million budget. So didn't even make half the money back off the budget, which is why I think maybe they left it, and maybe because the main cast wasn't in it. I mean, Vin Diesel is in this movie, but at the very, very end, it's like
He's a cameo. Yeah, ties the universe all together.
Yeah, kind of.
I agree with you. I think it's one of, if not the best in the franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
I do wonder what their vision kind of was at this point, because one, like, they kind of got to go by how the last film or films went in terms of how they think it's going to be received, as well as, you know, did they kind of want to make it so each film is different? So maybe they would have done the next film in a different country, different cast, if they were going to make more, or, you know, did they then look at these figures and think, do you know what, we do need to get Vin Diesel back and some of the other cast back.
That would have been kind of cool if they done like each movie in like a different location, like a different story. That would have been kind of sick.
But I think drifting was always attached to Japan or Tokyo. I think they went to Japan because that's where one of their biggest foreign box office spaces were. So you kind of work with the demographic, to my understanding. And another little, I don't know why I've watched so many. This is what I mean. There's so much more Fast and Furious stuff in my head. I don't know how or why it's there. But I know that there's a little tidbit of, you know, in that famous square in Tokyo where they do a lot of the filming for the drifting.
Shibuya Crossing.
Is it Shibuya? Yeah, it is Shibuya Crossing. You're not by law allowed to film there. Like, it's just not a filming. You can't close down the streets how they might do in other countries. But they would still find the time to do it. And because they know that the police would come and stop shooting, they had a sort of dummy director. So they would have a guy that would literally get paid where if the police comes, please just say I can't remember the director's name. You're me. You're going to get arrested. You're going to be in prison for a night and you're going to come out and then we'll come back here tomorrow.
No, where they had a fall guy.
Right. They had a fall guy, and it actually happened. The police came and he got arrested, went to prison for one night, or their jail for one night, and then they carried on filming quickly and finished all their scenes as fast as they could.
Oh my god, I did not know that. I thought that was just like one of the CG scenes or like a makeup set, something.
I think from that point onwards, you know when they do like the back in time scenes with Han and all that, because Han's another fucking
Yeah.
awesome character they introduced. I
Yeah,
think
Han
they have
deserves a shout. He's a great guy.
recreated it. Amazing. And I think
He was a great
Han's
character.
Han's meant to be another character from another franchise, but that's speculation.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's my tidbit for Tokyo Drift. They're the fall guy.
So what would you rate this? Because these ratings piss me off. I'll be honest. It was given a critic score of 38. Fucking joke, idiots, and an audience score of 69. 69.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
69% was what audience scored it. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. This is like at least an 85. At least an
Yeah.
85%.
Yeah,
in
that's
my
where I'm
mind.
standing, man. I'm like 8/9. I think as a film, it's like a 7 or an 8. In this franchise, 8 or 9 easily.
Dude, it's so good, man. I think I'd actually watched this the other night just because I felt like watching.
you were reading back your Fast and Furious report, like I'm really in the mood.
So
Makes sense.
after
If you were
this,
gonna, to be honest, I'll just throw in like, if you were gonna watch, like, I guess one of the older Fast and Furious, like more grounded, I say like quote unquote grounded Fast and Furious, probably would chuck on Tokyo Drift,
yeah, I mean, it is just
because
to me,
from here is where it goes a bit crazy.
yeah. From here is when they start to get a bit like, hey, it's the same movie. Let's just do it bigger and better, and it gets a bit insane. So,
Yeah.
Fast and Furious 4, they got rid of the thes, and it's just called Fast and Furious. Came out in
Whoa.
2009.
This one looks
Do we
like
remember
a reboot.
this movie?
The only
Yeah.
thing I really remember about this film is, to my knowledge, this was Gal Gadot's first movie role ever, from model to actress. I don't remember the film. I'm reading the synopsis and I still somehow don't care.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Okay,
sure
yeah.
if I'm getting confused with maybe one of the later films, because obviously in this one the main plot point is that Letty is dead,
Yes.
but I know that she obviously comes back.
Yeah.
And I can remember the scene where I think Dom sees her die or something like that, but I might be thinking of a flashback in a later film. So maybe I might not have seen this one.
I think, yeah, this is when the timeline gets confusing, because it's like after Fast and Furious, before Tokyo Drift. So the timeline
Yeah,
and everything
it
gets a bit more convoluted.
skewed. It's this is definitely one of the more forgettable movies in the entire franchise. It's not amazing. So yeah, Letty is killed working for a big time drug dealer, Braga, while Dom is overseas. So he goes to get revenge, not knowing that Brian, who is still working undercover for the FBI, is already investigating Braga. Dom and Brian get back together in Mexico to kill the guy who killed Letty and bring Braga back to the United States. This is when they're in Mexico and they got to bring him back across the border.
I think I remember a scene. Are they driving out into the desert?
Yeah, and there's like a little
loads of
wooden,
cars in a line or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, and
I
there's like a
remember
little
this.
wooden thing they drive through underneath the tunnels and everything.
Mhm.
It's not amazing. I didn't like it. It's kind of but
Yeah,
it kind of brings the main cast back, which I guess is what a lot of people wanted. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, this isn't an amazing film. This is easily one of the more forgettable ones.
No, I'm literally looking at images of the characters. I'm like, I don't remember you.
Yeah,
I remember I liked Dom and Brian getting back together. I liked that buddy, not cop,
Yeah.
but that sort of buddy partnership, because it was just became like more so focused on the two of them and what they were going through. And I enjoyed that dynamic and I enjoyed that cast coming back. But the synopsis, it's blurry.
yeah. It's something that I'm surprised, like from the first film, that they didn't stick with, keeping Brian and Dominic buddied up.
yeah,
Because they're kind of like, they're almost antithesis of each other, but like they love each other so much. by
But
the end of it.
Brian passes away.
Yeah.
yeah.
But like, to go from the Fast and the Furious to Too Fast, Too Furious, and just say Vin Diesel's not in this. We're just going to keep Brian. I thought that was like a strange option to take. And then, 8 years down the line, they go, okay, bring back Vin Diesel. Apparently,
Yeah.
face of the franchise.
Yeah, it's a little bit
It's a bit
strange.
strange.
I think this was the time that Vin Diesel was trying to branch off and start the whole Riddick franchise.
Oh, yeah.
When he was in his absence, because I know he's a person. Yeah, is a personal
So-
favorite, like fan of it.
So the little thing about that, the little cameo that he was in for Tokyo Drift, Vin Diesel made an agreement with the studio to say he won't get paid for the cameo. Instead, he
Yes.
wanted rights to Riddick. So they gave him the rights. He appeared in the cameo, and then Riddick went on to like make his own little Chronicles of Riddick series, which he was an executive producer on and everything. So that was the deal behind that.
For a cameo.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
deal and a half.
Yeah. So yeah, little for the numbers for this one, budget was 85 million, which is crazy because I don't really remember 95%.
Is that less than Tokyo Drift? It was
Tokyo
82.
Drift was 85 million budget. This was given the same budget, estimated 85 million,
Makes
so
sense.
maybe about the same. Opening weekend in US and Canada made 70 million, so 15 lost. Gross worldwide went on to make 360 million, which is double
Whoa.
Tokyo Drift. Maybe because it was the main cast that brought it back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
think that's what it was.
It has
I
to
think
be
they
in that.
brought the cast back.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
that also kind of people in any franchise, there's always a film that kind of drops the bar a little bit. People bag on it, like it didn't work, but I'm like, this film would not have been as successful if the previous film didn't do what it did. Forget how good or bad it is. The lack of the main cast, people maybe having their personal opinions about it. If they would have kept the cast for every film, this film would not have been the boost that it was, because people aren't excited to see these people back.
But it's a relative boost, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, by Tokyo Drift, you could kind of class it just by the figures that it was kind of a failing franchise. And then
Yeah.
Well, so we
for
thought.
them, and then Fast 4, that's them trying to save it, really.
Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. But critic score gave it 28%, which I agree with. Audience score gave it 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I do wonder about these critics. Like, maybe they're not into cars and stuff as well. Because
I mean,
don't know, they
maybe
just
they
get
just
these film critics in, and they don't understand what's going on. Possibly.
it's always like the critics just hate every single movie. Like who are
Listen,
these?
man, we don't know who they are, but let's be honest. These are not, I know we keep reiterating this, and I'm not bagging anyone that likes them, but these are the soap operas of movies. They are not smart. They are predictable. It's, oh, he died. No, she's alive. Who killed you? Nope, they've got amnesia. Oh, this is my enemy now. You're my best friend. I'm like, you are such a soap opera, man. Like,
Yeah.
And
True.
I'm not gonna expect the critics review a film with that sort of analysis, whereas we enjoy films just by enjoying it. And it doesn't always have to be a clever film to enjoy it.
Yeah, true. So, Fast and Furious 5. Have you seen this one, Serhan?
Fast 5.
One in Brazil. This
I
was
think
actually a good
this
film.
This one is where it starts to blow up, isn't it? Like as a franchise.
Yeah, it gets a little bit
Which is interesting.
insane,
Right, so-
but it still kind of ties
Yeah,
it
so
together.
from here now, this is when I've watched them, but now that my memory starts to kind of like moments spatter, like it's like moments here and there. My attention span is starting to wane now. Just
Yeah.
out of curiosity, which film is it where Dom catches Letty and they land on the car together on the motorway? Which film is that? Because that's the last film I went and
That
consciously.
film.
That was a crazy stunt. That didn't make sense. Didn't make any sense.
I'm
I
sure I
think
made a
it
note
was
of that
the
somewhere
next
as
one.
well.
I think it's
Is
the
that the
next
next
one.
one?
Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
Letty's in there, still presumed
It was the next one, yeah.
Okay,
So-
sorry. I don't want to jump ahead. I will talk on that later. But that's the moment where I let go. So right now,
you switched off. Was you in the cinema? You got up and walked out.
I was with
I don't
I'm
believe
done.
this.
Fuck this.
I was with an ex, so I had to stay on top because she really liked it. So I had to kind of stay on. I had to be invested. Anyway, so yeah, Luke Hobbs in this
Soldier.
film. Is that The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this is
Wait.
also the introduction of The Rock as Hobbs.
Yeah, I watched this
Something
one.
Hobbs.
I watched this.
So, yeah. Quick, do you want a little synopsis of the movie?
Yeah.
So, this one was set in Rio, Brazil. Brian is now a legit fugitive for helping break Dom out of prison, which is how the last one ended, if you remember that. They all escaped to Brazil to lay low and live out a peaceful life as much as possible until they're forced to get back into stealing cars, and this time make it a little more fancy. They're stealing cars straight off of trains now. I remember that in the beginning scene. There's like a special car being transported only by locomotives, and they have to steal it off the train in the middle of the desert. That's how they start the movie. That's like their first plan.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's kind of insane.
Is this the one with the vault?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Sorry. Continue.
So so they eventually draw the attention of Hobbs, played by The Rock, when Mia first announces that she's pregnant, and Dom starts going all about family. Everything starts to become about family. My family. Nothing breaks family.
It's about two things. It's about three things: cars, family, and Corona.
Yeah, the Corona is also a supporting cast member in every single movie for Fast and Furious.
Absolutely.
So yeah, they start planning ahead and realizing they're going to need one last big score for the run to lay low for good, and they start by the plan to do that is to steal an entire vault as they drive it through the streets of Brazil, demolishing everything in their path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Carnage.
The safe scene was when I was a bit like, huh, this is a bit insane, but okay, let's just carry on.
It's like DVDs, Tokyo, are safe in the street.
Yeah, it was this for me was when it started to get a bit insane. When was this? 2011.
Yeah,
2011.
They stepped up the spectacle for sure, and
it
was the opportune moment to do it.
Yeah,
I kind of like the introduction of Luke Hobbs as kind of like in this anyway. He's kind of like the opponent for Dominic.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
And in real life, they kind of didn't really get on.
Because someone else was supposed to be cast as Hobbs. I think it was, I want to say Tommy Lee Jones, but someone was supposed to play Hobbs.
He's so old.
But, yeah, but I think it was like a random fan that got in touch with them and said they want, like, you should get The Rock to play one of in your movies because seeing The Rock and Vin Diesel together would be cool. And they took it seriously and they actually went for The Rock.
No way.
Which is fucking insane. From a fan. A fan suggestion was like, hey, what about The Rock? And they were like, yeah, good idea. And they actually called in The Rock.
It was me. I love The Rock.
Can you imagine that one person?
Oh, and I'm sure he didn't get anything. I think he was and I think he appears in the films later, right? Isn't the guy that plays Ego, Living Planet?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Yeah. Wasn't it meant to be Kurt Russell that was that they had the plan to be Hobbs?
I think he was supposed to be originally cast as, they had him originally cast as someone else. I don't know if it was Hobbs, but they did have a different idea for him, but he ended up becoming Mr. Nobody, the character that he plays. But yeah, this was a good movie, man. I remember actually enjoying this movie. It got a bit fuck shit crazy at the end, but it was a good watch. It was very entertaining. They definitely stepped up the visuals. And yeah, the numbers kind of back that up. But what were you guys thinking about this movie, if you remember it that much?
It was fun. It knew what it was. I think now the idea of long-term franchise was kicking in, because now, especially something like Marvel started off with the hope, but the idea of always an extended universe from 2008. So it's been about 2-3 years now. More and more films are coming out. People are kind of responding. So I always kind of see that as a blueprint of other franchises going, oh, we can do more than films. Because I don't know about you guys. I remember, especially Lord of the Rings is that staple for me. Is any movie more than one or two was a big deal. A trilogy, even that word was like, whoa, this is a big, big deal.
As long as it
And
wasn't
now,
straight to DVD, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So the idea of having the word 4 and 5 and 6 was just crazy at that time. So I think it was really good for what it was. I was still curious and I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What
think
about you,
it was
Chris?
a good opportunity at this point, because I guess previously, you got 3 years between 2 and Drift, and then 3 years between Drift and Fast 4.
Yeah.
And I guess they took this opportunity, like Serhan said, they've seen what Marvel can do, and they thought, let's go crazy, let's get the cast, let's get The Rock, let's think of some crazy stunts, high stunts
Let's
they can
spend
do.
money to make money, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And then let's make this a real spectacle from start to finish. And I think it worked. I think it drew in fans of the franchise again, people who like cars, and also it's fairly passable action movie. So I think it started drawing in people that way as well.
Yeah. I think what Fraser said was right. I think it was by this film that, because they were getting their shit together and their formula together, it started to have like a more stable fan base. Like people that liked it knew what they were going in for, and people that didn't now took a step back.
Yeah, they kind of started to realize what was working and what wasn't working. Like the normal racing underground scene kind of stuff is how it started, wasn't what it was doing anymore. It wasn't
early
that.
2000s
It was
shit.
it was
That's
it
10
had
years ago.
needed to be more insane, which is what they started doing, and it obviously worked because the budget was an estimated 125 million. Opening weekend in US and Canada, the highest budget so far. Opening weekend in US and Canada made 86 million, so a fair bit short. But then gross worldwide went on to make 626 million.
What do you
500 million more.
Does it tell you? Oh, I don't know if you've seen like where the highest sort of fan base is coming from, because it's clearly not super like popular in the US on opening night, at least.
I don't know exactly where it was super popular. I'd need IMDb,
it's probably the Asian market.
which I do not have. Maybe.
I'm having a little look. By the way, I did check it. It was Tommy Lee Jones they had for Hobbs. That was the original.
Was Tommy Lee Jones?
And
God damn.
Just out of curiosity, the previous film before this, the budget was 85 million. What did it make domestic?
Domestic. 71 million, pretty much.
71 mil. So it was just below their budget. And the next film, the budget was 125, and then domestic it made 86. I'm not saying that it's not got to smash it, but then the domestic amount has gone up from 71 to 86. They've literally covered the budget of the previous 2-3 films. So it is still an improvement domestically. So this film has done well in it wasn't like it dropped domestic 10, 20 mil and then it made 300 million only globally. Even domestically, it was still doing rather well. At least from the previous.
I mean, gross US and Canada, opening weekend was 86, but gross US and Canada was 209 million.
Okay.
Gross worldwide was 626, so an extra 420 million came from around the world. Where exactly that was, I'm not sure. But yeah, people in Cineworld got a good chunk of their fucking money burning up their tires.
The fire alarms were going off that day.
Having even a little
weekend.
look So it's just giving me. Sorry, I'm just looking at a couple of different answers, but a lot. The biggest one, and like every fan tries that relies on it, is it's very popular in China. Very, very popular because for them, and it's true. I never thought of it that way. For them, it's like, as it's being phrased online, it's like a trendy foreign film. It's like us watching anime and having a different appreciation than the people who actually,
It's the Hollywood
Japan.
films, right? Like,
Yeah.
They know the actors that they like, and the kind of films that come out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
They like to invest as well.
And also,
yeah,
what they've really made a good point on, again, I'm reading, is they're saying it's apart from like a movie, like a lot of films that have international locations, so it's going to represent a lot of different countries and people are going to get a little bit hyped, and it doesn't really stay in the States as much. But also the cast is really diverse, and this mentioning like Samoan, African American, Israeli, British, Latina, Asian, and it and in brackets it says whatever Vin Diesel is. So yeah, I never actually thought of it that way. It represents a lot of diversity in where it is and who they have as well.
Yeah,
I need to look that up now. What is a Vin
Diesel?
Diesel?
It's just on Red.
Let me know, because now I want to know. While you're doing that, critic scores for this was a lot higher, highest in 3 movies, I think it's been. They gave it a 78%, which is decent. Audience score was 83%. So I think it was universally liked by a lot of people.
I don't know if the internet knows.
No, the internet is getting so confused, right? So Vin Diesel nationality is the obvious, like, American. I'm like, all right, what's the ethnicity?
Use the internet. What?
And then when you go to ethnicity, he goes, he was raised by his white mother and adoptive African American father. It doesn't. He's obviously got a mixed race.
Really
I know he wants to convince people that he has got a bit of Hispanic or South American vibe, but to my understanding, he's got none of that. Like, this is
he's not full Norwegian. He's just got a very good tan.
He's full Norwegian.
He's just guessing. Like, I've seen here. His mother is English, German, Scottish, and Irish ancestry. Like he said, his adopted father is African American.
That's what I'm saying. An adopted father as well.
He says he's definitely a person of color, but why doesn't he just confirm it? Why doesn't he just go and like get a test done?
Like, those test kits are like 50 quid, right? And isn't Vin Diesel like a fucking millionaire?
He could start his own business to find out if he wanted.
Or maybe he did and then found out.
You are white, man. And just to give a little touch, and there might be a bit of a shell shock for you guys. His real name is Mark Sinclair.
That is too average.
Vin Diesel is his stage name.
Where the fuck did Vin Diesel come from?
It's a stage name.
Huh.
Bruv, he has the word diesel in his name. He had to do a film about driving.
I was born for this part. Okay, so Fast and Furious 6. This is the movie where Dom catches Letty from the sky across the bridge.
I had to go to the cinema to watch this shit, right? Not even in the name of love, but just in the name of just like doing shit together, date night. What the fuck? I was enjoying the film for what it was. It was stupid enough and aware enough, kind of. But when that scene happened, I couldn't physically get up and leave, but internally I checked out. And I mean, I checked out so hard that I never went back to this franchise again. And it became more of a pissing contest. I was like, right, now this is now going into science fiction. No, I don't care. I would respect it if he had a cut at least or a bruise. No, he gets up in the most pristine, crisp white T-shirt. Like he got it off the hanger and he's like, I got you, Lay. I got you, Lay. Don't worry about it. I was like, no, I'm done.
This is where it gets anime.
This is no, but it just annoyed me because now I can still respect it because I'm like, oh, you're anime now. But at that time, you're tiptoeing the line into this explosive dynamic. No, It pissed
Like,
me off
yeah,
so much.
you're Sharknadoing. That's what they were doing.
Yes,
Like,
thank you. And I paid
Yeah.
for that shit.
I mean, to be
Oh.
fair, they did release a it was like a newspaper article or something somewhere, and it was saying that Vin Diesel is basically a demigod now, which is why he can
Yeah.
survive falling off of bridges mid-air on tanks unscathed.
So all that diesel
You know.
that he's breathed in.
Yeah, it's just
These pure fuel.
Do you know what it is? When a film doesn't follow the rules of its own universe, it's annoying to me. That's what pisses me off. Like Scott Pilgrim was more realistic to me because it followed the rules of its own world. No, there's no stakes in these franchise now, and that's where it lost me. I was like, I don't. If you don't care about your rules, why should I?
Yeah,
it's like
It
they're
was
going to go
definitely-
into this and come out unscathed. Like you
Bruv,
literally
no
got
one
a member
dies.
of the cast coming back from the dead.
No one gets hurt. There's a scene even in the future films of like Vin Diesel fucking pulling chains off of the walls and shit, and things crumbling down. And no,
I'm gonna we'll get back to this, but I'll
I'm so
mention a
triggered.
scene in one of the, I think it's in 9. I think it might be in 9. But he just does some insane fucking shit. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Spoilers.
Okay.
So
I need some water.
do you remember Fast 6? Fast
I remember that. It's the thing is, these films, like, I just start to remember them as scenes.
Yeah.
Like I remember I think it's towards the beginning where Jason Statham comes in and fights with Hobbs. Kind of beats him. as
Yeah.
well.
Isn't
Kind
this
of.
the film where you find out that this is the guy that kills Han, and you find out that Letty's alive, but she's got amnesia. She's working for the bad guy.
Mhm. I think it actually starts out with them doing a heist on like a truck, stealing fuel from a truck. Is that this one? I think
There's so many questions being. Is it this one?
I don't think so.
they're in the car.
So
is it this film?
okay, so let me read you what I've got. So Brian and Mia are living a nice chilled life with their baby. Dom and Elena are doing their own thing, and Han and Giselle, because Letty is still dead according to everything else. Dom and Elena are doing their own thing, and Han and Giselle are also happily living their own lives, doing their own thing. Taj and Roman are like a buddy comedy duo now. That's the kind of relationship that they have.
And they're dynamic.
Cool. And they're just doing random shit. In walks the unit that is Hobbs, aka The Rock, and appears before Dom to let him know, hey, by the way, Letty's still alive, bro. You might want to get on that. And then, except this time, she's working for a guy called Shaw, Luke Shaw, which is the guy, what's his name? Luke Evans? Luke Evans, I think his name is.
Don't know. He's a good actor. I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
But I don't know I can't remember his real name. I'm sorry.
He's the bad guy in this movie. If you remember.
No. I do remember. I remember he had the. Did he have the really low down car where he could drive under other cars and flip them over and shit? That was pretty cool. It was like a weird Fast and Furious Batmobile.
Yeah.
Luke Evans,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He had a trick car.
He did.
Yeah, pretty much.
He had what's it called? Like Robot Wars. He had that, but in a full size.
Yes. He had a Robot Wars car.
He
causing
did.
havoc. Bad guy.
Bad
So
guy.
Dom calls on the group once again on a rescue mission to get Letty back and reunite the family, because it's all about family now.
She's one of the family.
Up and essentially, so the group get armed up and essentially become the good guy equivalent of the Akatsuki and Team 7 combined, because they're fucking unstoppable.
Of course.
They go to take down Shaw, who is trying to destroy the world somehow.
Yeah, how?
I can't remember how exactly he's going about it,
Lots
but he's
of
a bad guy.
guns.
Guns. He's got a lot of guns.
He's got to flip the
Yeah,
world.
so in the
with his car.
process, this is when ultimate car go. So yeah, this is when Dom finds Letty in the middle of all this madness. Dom finds Letty, and she pops a cap in Dom's ass because she has amnesia all of a sudden. Forget exactly how she has amnesia. But is it ever
I thought she
mentioned?
got like shot in the head, like literally.
No, it was like from the trauma, right? Because Dom's memory of her is as he's like passing out and he thinks she's dying on the floor, but it's the trauma of the crash or like the movie equivalent of like her hitting her head. But it's always a bit blurry to my knowledge.
So you'd think this would be like a key plot point that we would all remember, right? But this is just like, how did she do this again? It's like we stopped giving a shit. It's like, oh, now you have amnesia.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
be
okay.
honest. She read the script. That's how she got lost her memory.
Too many fumes.
It's too fast, too furious.
Right. So yeah, then Dom has to do the whole 51st dates thing with her, and get her to fall in love with her all over again by doing street racing with her. And she's all like, "Oh, he's actually kind of cool, but I remember you, but not really. But oh my god, am I going to shoot you? I'm not going to shoot you." And she does the whole confused amnesia lover thing that we all seen. And then yeah, then there's a point where they have a big chase on the motorway and they're on a tank, and then that's when Dom does his Superman.
Isn't this also the one where the tank goes down and they shoot the floor and then the tank boom and bounces off of its own like propulsion?
Something like that. I remember a tank doing something fucking stupid.
It's all bullshit. I'm telling you, it's all bullshit. This film pissed me off so much because I had to go towards it. I paid good money to watch this shit.
Yeah, it was it was definitely something.
It's like a kid who has that like racing car bed and starts having like a fever dream.
The only interesting thing about this film was it brought it up to the event of Tokyo Drift. You found out how Han died, and Shaw's out, and Letty's back, and then Jason Statham kicks in at the end. Like, that's it. Apart like Han dying and be like, oh shit, that is it. And even he doesn't stay dead. But that's for another moment.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry. I'm really tricked now.
Where's Shaw and Hobbs fight? That's in the next film. 7.
Yes, yeah. Jason Statham is on a cameo.
It's getting blurry.
Yeah, he's just a little cameo for this one. But to give you the numbers, the budget was 160 million. So again, they're just getting higher and higher from their 125 record. Budget was 160 million. Gross in US and Canada. Opening weekend was 97 million. Gross worldwide was 788 million.
Crazy. They're making so much profit. I'm surprised their budgets are so low.
What was the budget, sorry? 100 and
budget was 160. So the highest budget to date, but then they also raked in the most to date with 788 million.
So look, let's be honest. For whatever we say about this franchise, the numbers don't lie. I mean, they could lie, but it's making money. Whatever they're doing seems to be working. Even domestically, they've gone up from like 86 to 90. So every film now, in the last 2-3 films, they've gone up by 10 mil domestically. And now they've gone up to like 700 something mil. Like, that's big money.
Well, we're gonna go to it. Do you think 788 million is a lot? You're not wrong. But then we get to Fast and Furious 7.
I think that
2015.
Maybe we should have a quick ad break.
Okay. Good point. So before we get into Fast and Furious 7,
ad break.
Let's take a break from all this fast and all this fury. Take a chill.
Have some ad break. Ad break.
Oh my god.
In a world surrounded by chaos.
Sir, we're getting reports from NASA that there is a Cat 7 meteorite out in space and is on a direct collision path with Earth. Thanos is back, and Aquaman has turned on us and declared all fish on the planet are now under his protection and is on the warpath for killing us for those fish finger sandwiches. What are your orders?
No need to panic, subordinate. I know just who to call.
There's only one man who has the power to save us all.
What is it this time, nobody?
I was in the middle of a family barbecue.
This summer, summon the power of family.
Apologies, Dom, but you know I wouldn't call you if I didn't have any other choice. We got another situation. The Earth needs your team one more time.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Dominic Toretto will be an unstoppable force.
How are you even down here? You're human, you should be dead.
If there's one thing you shouldn't underestimate, is how far I'm willing to go for my family.
Who breaks all the rules.
Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. We're literally in Atlantis 5,000 feet underwater.
Ancestral kick!
I'm Aquaman and undefeated! Brr.
It's easy taking down Aquaman. But let's see how you fare against me, the Mad Titan Thanos.
Can we please hurry this up? I think my corona's getting cold by now.
Wait, what?
Ancestral kick!
I'm defeated.
Now, how am I supposed to take out the meteorite? What would Letty say if she were here?
Who are you again? I have amnesia.
That's my girl. I am Diesel! Take this, you big rock. Ancestral kick!
Dom, you did it! You saved us all once again. How can we ever thank you?
Corona and family. And I am Diesel.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Fast and Furious 69. Supermotor Corona Overdrive Part 4. Okay. Coming soon to theaters near you.
10 out of
It's
10.
okay. It's okay.
10 out of
I'm wearing my white Dom t-shirt. I'm protected.
Oh,
Invincible.
magic. I see. So, Fast and Furious 7, boys.
Welcome back.
2000... Oh. Welcome back! Fast and Furious 7, 2015.
Yeah.
Now you thought 788 million was a lot. Do we remember what happened in 7? One very, very big thing.
Is this where they drive from building to building in Dubai?
I mean, that's one of the big things that happens in the film, but not the biggest.
Not the
So-
biggest.
Fast and Furious 7 was the last film Paul Walker was in before he died. So he's filmed
R.I.P.
in it. R.I.P. He's filmed a few scenes in it, but there are a lot of scenes in the movie where it's just CGI or his brothers that are standing in for him.
Yeah. I
But,
remember.
This was Paul Walker's last movie.
And this is the one
And
with Kurt Russell.
Indeed, you are correct, sir. So, I'll give you the numbers after. But do you want a quick rundown? Do you know what happens in the movie
What's
roughly?
the main crazy stunts?
Main crazy stunts in 7. Other than them busting out of the skyscraper in Dubai and landing
Into another
the
skyscraper.
opposite skyscraper.
And then
Um,
doing it again.
Yeah, that was
Was that a heist? Were they stealing that car in particular?
so basically there's a chip in this car that they need to
Of course.
that
Of course there
Ramsey
is.
needs. Ramsey is the new character introduced in 7, who is Daenerys Targaryen's right-hand lady from Game of Thrones,
Okay.
No.
Cool.
if you remember her.
No, but yeah,
Um,
cool.
Yeah, she's Ramsey. She's like the hacker in the movie that joins the squad. And there is a weapon a chip that's responsible for a lot of damage and can destroy the world. And it's hidden on that car. So they need to steal the car, but they can't figure out how to get the chip off it. So they just steal the entire car by driving it out of the skyscraper from like the 100th something floor into the opposite skyscraper completely unscathed because Dom is a demigod.
What
Absolutely.
What would they have done if they had that like briefing? Or like, we need your team to steal this chip. All right, cool. It's gonna save the world. All right, cool. It's in Dubai. All right, cool. But it's just on a USB drive. They're gonna be like, we only deal with cars. Yeah, but it's just a flash drive. It's the size of your palm, Dom. You could do everything you do in the movie. Just grab it and walk out.
Walk.
Does it have wheels?
I don't walk out.
They're gonna be like,
I
all right, tell you what.
drive out.
At best, we're gonna give you a Segway. You know, we'll give you a Segway. You put the USB on there. All right, cool. As long as
Has it got NOS? Can it drift?
V12. V12. So
this is from this film onwards where I was no longer surprised or triggered or anything by Fast and Furious. I was like, you know what you are. I know my standards. I'm seeing the adverts. I might have caught glimpses of this film, and I know I have, because when I look at pictures, I'm like, I kind of remember these scenes from TV, but I honestly don't give a shit from this point onwards.
the only reason I watched this movie was because I knew it was Paul Walker's last movie. That was the only reason I went to go see it.
I think a
literally,
lot
that
of
was-
people went for that reason, in all fairness.
Yeah, which is fair. Which is
No,
probably
absolutely fair.
the
Absolutely fair.
numbers.
It's a send-off movie, man. Like it's a level of respect in terms
Yeah.
of for what it meant to us in real life, but as a franchise movie, I gave up. I checked out.
Yeah.
I checked out of the cinema, and I have never checked back in.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's like you said before, like obviously nobody is kind of in danger in any of the scenes. You kind of know they're all going to come out okay, so you're kind of just watching it just to see how it's going to escalate or de-escalate.
Yeah,
And
it doesn't
some
matter.
of the scenes are kind of cool.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of the highs and lows without any of the extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are literally like the Avengers, the Earth's mightiest heroes. Like they can do whatever they want, and everything will be completely
Hey,
fine.
even
Protected.
MCU had the dusting, okay? Even they had the snap and shit went down. We had deaths and loss, and even though they came back, there were consequences to that
But
coming
they're
back.
demigods, Serhan.
Vision didn't come
These
back.
people are demigods. They can do no wrong.
I
They will
forgot.
never find harm.
Of course, this is the combination of Riddick and Fast and Furious and Harry Potter and Mission Impossible and the MCU all combined into cars.
Mhm.
Yep,
I
pretty
forgot,
much.
Rich. Thank you for letting me know.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, the numbers. The budget, again, topped its record from 160 million from the last movie to 190 million.
Okay.
Opening weekend in US and Canada made 147 million, so almost made its budget back. Gross
Beautiful.
US and Canada made 353 million, so covered the budget, nice and easy. Gross worldwide, 1.5 billion.
Billion.
Crazy.
Yeah, there it is.
1.5 billion. I
They
think
hit
this
the-
is the reason why they are probably on that list for highest grossing franchises of all
Yeah.
time.
Bro, they
Because-
hit the word billion and 1.5 before even the MCU did. And it took them how many years to get to the billions?
Right, yeah.
They stuck with it.
2015.
Shit.
Jesus.
Listen, I'm not going to kudos this film. There is a big nostalgia to it. There is a big send off for Paul Walker, and I know that will be, let's say, 20, 30, 40% of that. The rest of it, they earned it on what they are, and they know what they are, and their audience knows what it is, and I respect them
Mhm.
for it. But I personally do not care. Good on them, but I do not care.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So yeah, no, I am in the same boat as you, man. I don't really give a shit. I just went to see it because it's Paul Walker's last movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it kind of did what it needed to do. It gave him a nice send off at the end.
It did. They drive off on separate roads. It's very emotional.
Yeah, the car that Paul Walker's actually driving is actually Paul Walker's personal car from his own personal collection. So that was kind of nice because he's was a big fan of street racing and cars and everything. So that was actually his car. They did a lot to give him a nice send off, which I appreciate. But other than that, I don't really give a shit about the rest of the storyline and Fast and Furious world and bullshit stunts. It's just kind of there for entertainment now. But I think it knows that. Like, I think it kind of realizes that people aren't taking it seriously anymore, and it is just a flashy
Well,
thing.
it's kind of
And
got
they
the
just-
monopoly on this kind of
Kind of,
series,
yeah.
doesn't it? It knows what it's doing, and it's got its formula now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what we said at the beginning. No other car franchise movie was doing as well, so they kind of did carve out that part of the movie world, of a franchise, of a genre, of itself.
Mhm.
And I know it's not
Yeah.
always necessarily about driving. It's got cars, but it's not necessarily about driving. But it did own that part of media, and it still does to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Hey everyone, we're just taking a moment here to let you know some more details about the podcast and the direction we're going.
We wanted to let you know that we now have a Gmail account, and we would love to hear from you, connect to you, and get to know you all just a little bit better. So if you have any questions or comments that you might have, please don't hesitate and get in contact with us at rjopoddy@gmail.com. That's rjopoddy@gmail.com.
That's right, Rikesh. Another way to get closer to the poddy is our amazing but highly under-advertised Instagram page, where you can find a collection of our funny and silly ads with visuals for your entertainment, as well as updates on the poddy through our Instagram story, and where naturally you can also message us there as well. Find us at RJOPodcast on Instagram, and we hope you enjoy.
Lastly, we are having plans of developing the podcast, extending outside of our hobbies and getting closer to our own individual passions. For me, being a trained therapist, my passion as well as profession is to help people, connect to people, and share any tools and techniques that may be helpful to yourselves. And so, to bring the podcast and therapy world that little bit closer, I'm planning on creating an additional Agony Uncle style podcast to the Red Jackson family, where you can send us any mild to moderate issues and challenges you or someone you know may need any advice or guidance on, where myself, as well as the boys and any special guests, can help and advise you and delve deeper into the therapy world. So please message us on RJOPoddy@gmail.com as mentioned above, and let's begin. If, however, you find yourself or someone you know in need of more specific, dedicated one-to-one long-term help, then please contact me directly at Serhan Avci therapy@gmail.com. That is SERHAN for November, AVCI therapy@gmail.com, or find me on the counselling directory under Serhan Avci as mentioned. I hope to help, I hope to guide, and I hope to empower you all.
Please find all the relevant details in the description below. I hope you enjoyed and possibly found a new way to get involved and for all of us to connect further. And now we've taken enough of your time. Back to this amazing episode of Red Jackson.
So, we come to the 8th film in the franchise, The Fate of the Furious, in 2017. Do we remember it?
Yeah, I pretty much remember this one.
This was the first one that introduced Charlize Theron, right?
It's the as the
Yeah.
villain this time.
Sure.
Cypher. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't seen it. It's
Nope.
not an amazing movie. It's not. It is what it is. It's just another Fast and Furious movie.
I think
So
now
once again,
is when they start kind of trying to get into more gimmicks, like, how are we going to twist up this film a little bit? How are we going to put a twist on the next one or do something different now? So obviously now it's framing Dominic as one of the main bad guys for the film. The guy who's all about family is now against his family. And I think that was
like the
probably
big
one of the
twist.
reasons why I wanted to watch it.
Oh, so have you not seen this one? Well, you have seen.
I have seen this
one. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was a cool little twist to see, like, the main guy for family is now against his family. What are they going to do? And you can kind of see that they try and stop him, like everyone else tries to gang up on him, but Dom is a demigod, and
I
nothing
am
will
telling
stop
you, this is a soap opera mentality, and I'm gonna extend on that point. A soap opera is expected to come out week to week or month to month. So you sit in a room with the idea of what idea has come organically and how do we flesh it out versus we have to carry on. We're expected to. So where do we take this? And this is where this franchise, to me, has now gone to, especially from this film, is like them sitting in a room saying, we've got the money, we've got the audience for it and the capital. Where do we go? Not where should we go? It's more like where do we have to go? What's expected of us? What if this happens? What if there's a bigger car? What if there's a dinosaur? And you're like, all right, yeah, okay, cool. Make the bad guy.
Okay, Timmy.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
enough of your
Timmy.
suggestions now.
Literally, he's the bad guy. Everyone's been the bad guy in this franchise at least once. And guess what? Then they become part of the good. They become part of the family in the next film. But a
Yep.
corona and a barbecue.
That's definitely how all of this seems to go down.
Mhm.
Like, I don't remember a lot of stunts. Like, I only watched this 2 weeks ago, maybe, and I really don't remember a lot of the stunts that they did.
I
Like,
think it's the ice lake stunt, right? That's pretty much it.
I
mean, there's-
I think the one I'm remembering on the Ice Lake is I think it's The Rock, and there's like a missile or a rocket,
oh right, and
and he
turns
he's
it.
on the car and he's grabbing the rocket and he redirects it. It's like-
Yes,
he
yes.
redirects it to something else. I'm like, yeah, that's so anime. And then there's the scene where like Dom is in his car and the rest of the team have like grappling hooks on his car as well, and
Yeah, I
they're
remember
trying to
that
pull him away like in different directions, but he's not budging.
He's got demigod powers, and like
And he
he's
just
got these like
he outpowers them all with his car against
yeah, and it's
5
just
other
like
cars.
smashing them. Yeah, I don't understand this movie, man. And then he manages to take down a submarine. I think that's the end of the movie, but that's the one thing I remember.
Yeah, the
I think,
submarine.
Like he jumps off some ice ramp thing, and then he hits his back left wheel just on the corner of the submarine as he's being followed by a heat seeker, and then it blows up the submarine. It's like, come the fuck on, man. Really?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Crazy.
I'll bite. Done.
It's
it
a
in
little
this
bit
film-
dark, this one as well, actually,
it?
because his like his wife and daughter, or his wife and daughter get kidnapped, and like
Yeah,
his
so
his
Yeah.
ex-partner or whatever, and she
Yeah.
gets killed.
yeah, it's like so he finds out that he's a dad because Cypher has taken Elena, who's
Mm.
had her baby, and then she eventually killed Elena, and then Jason Statham he fakes his death somehow, and then he ends up going back to Cypher, stealing the baby, so the baby's rescued, and then Jason Statham becomes part of the squad, kind of, but not really, but everyone's cool with him now. And then Dom gets his kid back, and then he switches back on Cypher, and then fucks everything up for her, and then she gets captured. That's pretty much the movie. Main highlight: Dom is now a dad.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's the highlight. What you need to know: Dom is now a dad. Family.
It's just a little Vin Diesel, just like, hey, Papa, give me
Yeah.
a Corona.
I
And I'm
think-
like, I
Shake
can't.
my head.
You're 2 years old.
I think the Rock's daughter is actually in this as well. Like,
What? Real
Is it-
life?
This is also
think
The
so,
Rock's
yeah.
last movie. This is also The Rock's
Oh,
last movie.
is
'cause he
this
didn't want
before
to-
their fallout?
Yeah, this is like the big controversy before The Rock was officially causing all this shit with him and Vin Diesel, and then Tyrese didn't want to work with him for whatever reason.
Tyrese didn't want
I
to
think
work with him. I don't know if it's because of this or it come after their fallout. But one of the controversies was, and I've never seen like The Rock or Dwayne Johnson like have this attitude because he's got this obviously Hollywood persona of being a nice guy. And I'm not saying he's not, but if you ever go on YouTube and just write like Dwayne Johnson's review of Tyrese's newest album, he's proper like, this is the biggest piece of dog shit I have ever fucking heard. There is nothing like he goes in, and I'm like, I've never seen The Rock drop the persona and fucking dig deep, man, with these words. Dig deep.
He gives major bitch vibes lately. I don't know what it is,
Bro,
man. Like
by
he's
this
just
point, this whole franchise at this point was an ego game. Their contracts individually, right, were scheduled that each of their contracts, The Rock, Statham, Vin Diesel, all of it got to the point where it was like, right, they had a point system for every hit they got. So they were like, in every film, everyone's got 60 points. No one can dish out more than what they serve. If I get pushed through a window, I have to push you through a window. If you punch me, I can punch you back. So they had an equal. So every fight, they'll be like, we're going to have 10 points per fighter. No one, it is stipulated in their contracts, no one can outrightly win a fight. It always has to be a stalemate. Security's got to jump in to stop us. Like it became ego central, man.
Yeah.
maybe that's why they've ended the franchise, because they realize this is getting fucking stupid and people are just ridiculous. That's insane.
I think Vin Diesel was afraid that The Rock was taking over his franchise, quote unquote.
There's so much bullshit, man. They had like the Twitter accounts popping up, and this is what annoyed me with the hissy fit. And what really pissed me off was they were using Paul Walker's name. Vin Diesel was like, Paul Walker, come on, and Dwayne, like, you know, my children's call you Uncle. Dwayne, Paul Walker would have wanted you to be in this franchise. Like, they were using bullshit tactics like that, and I'm like, nah, man, that's just below the belt. Like, let it go. Don't.
I mean, I don't know about all of that shit, but I know, like, behind the scenes, like Vin Diesel and Paul Walker were genuinely, like, really, really close behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So
they were.
I-
They were.
I don't know how all that shit shakes up. I think fame and money has
Kissing
just
contest.
gone to the Rock's head, man. Like so much
all
so
of
now
it,
he's just like
all of them.
Mhm.
Sorry, yeah, and sorry.
either way.
With this
No, that's
tangent.
fine. That's fine. Either
If you
way.
want to
Either
go into
way.
budgets and whatnot,
So the budget for this again broke the record, 250 million at an estimate.
Mhm.
Opening weekend brought in 98 million, so very falling short. Gross US and Canada was only 226. So gross US and Canada still didn't cover the budget for this movie. But worldwide, it went on to make an extra 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
oh,
Shat-
another billion mark.
It's crazy.
1.2 billion gross worldwide. So they
You
made
know what?
200 mil in US and Canada and then a billion everywhere else, which is fucking ridiculous.
Still less than the other film, though, the previous film.
Still less than seven. Still less than seven.
I tell you what I liked about this film. Thinking about it now, I like the title. I think for 7 or 8 films at this point to keep recreating the number without saying Fast and Furious 1, 2, 3, I think just the Fate of the Furious just sounds like if I got a book that was like the Fate of the Furious, I'm like, what the fuck? This is like fucking some Dante's Inferno shit, like.
I mean, if you like the title for that one, they were kept it super succinct for the next one. F9. F9.
That stands
That's it.
for fuck
That's it.
9. Fuck number 9. Well, there is I mean, I know we're not going to go into it, but there is Hobbs and Shaw between Fate and F9.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into Hobbs and
No,
Shaw.
no,
It's like
no,
a random side thing.
But
I don't think anyone else.
That was a tester, let's be honest. That was like Disney Plus show moment of, will this work? Yeah? No, let it go.
Yeah. I mean, Idris Elba was in it. He was fairly good.
Yeah, I heard that.
With a mechanized suit that made him almost, at least explainably, more superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
And they still beat him somehow. I don't know. And they had the other girl, the Statham's sister, in this.
Yeah, that was
Why
kind of
do
weird,
I know
actually,
so
because The
much
Rock was
about
hitting
this
on her.
franchise? The Rock was hitting on her. It looked so wrong. It looked so wrong. He would crush her in bed.
Oh my god.
Bro, he's huge, man. He's huge.
He is.
I think there's one scene that I like in that film, and I think it's when they're both in prison
Yeah.
and they try to escape.
Vin Diesel and Jason Statham.
No, Jason Statham and Dwayne The Rock.
Oh, right, yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I think they escape from jail, and that's a
the
scene.
The jumpsuits and the fights and all that shit. Again, I honestly don't know why I know so much about the franchise. Don't know where it's coming. I haven't even watched.
I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw. I have no interest in watching Hobbs and Shaw whatsoever.
I think there is a ridiculous moment in Hobbs and Shaw, where I think The Rock is on the back of like a flatbed car. I don't know if Jason Statham is driving, maybe, but he's on this car and he's holding like he's got like a cable or something and it's attached to a helicopter.
Yes, I remember seeing this in the advert.
And he's holding the helicopter and the car at the same time.
Was he Captain America all of a sudden?
Right,
He's
that's
literally
what
doing the Captain America Spider-Man thing.
Lord, okay.
19.
He says everyone's a demigod now. Fuck it. Fast and Furious is giving out demigod tickets like this fucking candy. So it's all the nos.
Yeah, F9. I haven't watched F9.
Same.
I fell off at Hobbs and Shaw.
I have seen Fast 9. It's honestly, it is what it is. It's a good watch when you've got literally nothing else to put on and it's just there in front of your face, and you've got 2.5 hours to kill. Yeah, just chuck it on. I guess you might get a few laughs out of it, but it's not a solid.
This
film.
is the film. Is this where John Cena comes in as his brother? This is the scene with the fucking chains and the ridiculous shit coming in more. This is it.
This is the scene with the chains. You are correct.
Why? Why do I know this? Why have I watched these bits
because
in the
it
film?
was.
So John Cena is supposed to be Vin Diesel's brother.
Yeah.
John
so
Cena.
The story goes, back in the day,
go.
Dominic Toretto's dad, Terry, whatever his name was, his dad was a racer back in the day, or for like Indy 500, whatever it was. His brother was they were both part of the pit crew. His brother was working on the car. He done something. The car fucked up. He got crashed into. The car flipped. It exploded. Blew up in flames. The dad died. So Dom confronts his brother Jacob. Yeah, this is the law. So Dom confronts his brother Jacob and says, "We're gonna have a race. If you win, you get to come home. Loser stays. Loser drives and keeps on driving. You never come back." Dom obviously wins. His brother goes disappearing off, and you never hear from Jacob ever again up until this moment where he's stealing some shit that everyone needs. It's not great. I'll be honest. The writing for this movie is not amazing. It's
Is he older brother or young? He's younger brother.
He's a younger brother. He's a younger brother.
I mean, just look at this. I don't know if it's going to show.
Oh,
this just looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's a picture of them side by side. Is this the film where Han comes back?
Han does come back here. This is the movie where they slowly kind of bring in all the other characters from other movies. Weirdly enough, Cardi B is in this movie for some reason. Francis Ngannou is in this movie for some reason, if you know who Francis Ngannou is. It just is a lot of cameos from a lot of people, and you're like, why is this person here? It makes no fucking sense, but okay, I guess this is what we're doing now.
To be fair, they have been sprinkling some of the Tokyo Drift cast like throughout these films since Tokyo Drift.
Well, Han definitely being one of them.
Yeah,
Han being the main one.
They bring back Sean as well in one of the films, the main guy.
Sean is as well.
The only person that doesn't come back is it LL Cool J?
LL Cool J? You mean Bow Wow?
Is it Bow Wow in Tokyo Drift?
Bow
Wow is in this
that
movie.
doesn't come up. Is he in this movie? Okay, look, I haven't watched it. It's been on TV, that's why I know moments. But all I remember of this, and it was again a soap opera moment of watching the trailer come out, and obviously the trailer pop up, and I think it's Charlize Theron, where she's like narrating the trailer, and she's like, "Oh, this is Dom's brother, and he is stronger, he's faster, he's smarter than him," and it's just like showing scenes of them like trying to shoot each other, trying to outsmart each other. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, John Cena. Like, I love John Cena. I think he's a cool actor, man. Like, he's funny. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean,
god.
I
This
think he
film
had the
was so-
potential to do a lot in this movie, but I think it was just let down by the writing. It wasn't amazing. It was kind of like, oh, so Dom's brother Jacob is essentially the James Bond. He's actually a super spy. He's not like
okay.
Dom, who is kind of like a super spy, but with cars. This guy is actually a super spy. That's kind of where he's put him. And yeah, Charlize Theron is kind of trying to pit them against each other, but then at the end of the movie, they kind of work together, and it's both brothers kind of thing. It's very weird.
Two brothers and a car.
It's just two brothers. But I think the most notable thing about this movie, is this super weapon that they have is being uploaded to a satellite in space. While they are saying this, there's like a little briefing room that's happening, and Roman's like, "Are you in orbit? Are you in space?" So they literally get a car, put a giant fucking rocket on it, and they literally put this car on a plane, and they launch the plane as high as it can go, and they launch the car off of the plane into space. Taj and Roman are the passengers, but they literally launch a car out into space. This is Fast and Furious.
But listen, that to me is okay. Because they establish that to me. No, hold on.
You've gone full circle. Your line was here, and you came back behind.
No. Let me just put this round. I'm not saying it's a good or believable idea, but it's so stupid that it works.
I'm sorry, I cannot believe you just said that's okay.
No. Just let me just. let me.
I said there's a car in space. It's okay.
No, it's not. No, but it's a film. It's science fiction about cars going deep underwater, into space, in the sky, falling out of aeroplanes and parachuting down. All of that shit. I'm like, all right, cool. I can suspend my belief for that because I'm like, it's so stupid and far-fetched that if you can drag a safe round and bombs and a car from a building to another building, I'm like, all right, cool. It's stupid, but I can be entertained if I suspend belief.
That's how
it's. I know. You know what? Maybe
now
it is.
you're a super
talking
fan.
about this for so long. You guys just don't get it, all right? You guys don't get it. It's about family.
I can't believe you tried to defend that. That's fucking insane.
Bruv, it's stupid, but it knows it's stupid. But Vin Diesel fighting 15 men and pulling a chain out of a fucking wall, that still annoys me more than the spaceship. That annoys me more.
Yeah, I mean, that was to be fair, to their credit, in this movie, there is have a scene where he goes to Taj and I can't remember her name. The hacker. Ramsey. Yeah, there you go. I mean, he walks up to them and he's like, have you guys ever stopped to think, like, we've done all these missions, gone on all this in crazy adventures, done all this mad shit, and we're all still here. Like, all of us are fine. I don't have a single scar or nothing to show for it. And he's like, what? And Taj is like, what are you trying to say? That we're invincible? And he's like, yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know. But then they both kind of be like, oh, you're being fucking stupid or whatever, and they laugh it all off. But like, they do have like a meta commentary thing about it. Like, we know we're being fucking ridiculous, but we're gonna keep doing it anyway.
That's what makes it 10% more passable. But they are not super strong. When it comes to the ego shit, it just annoys me. I'm sorry, it just pisses me off more. We're gonna put a car in the space. Fuck it, fine. Do you? This is your franchise. This is where you're going. But don't tell me that you're going to fight 5, then 10. This is the point where John Cena and his crew, they come into the Fast and Furious hideout. They've not sabotaged. They've like, what's the word, guys? When they just pop out of nowhere.
Surprise attack.
I guess a surprise attack, yeah. And they're all like guns up and all that shit. And then ambush. Thank you. That's the word. They ambushed them. And Vin Diesel's like saving his family. He's like, guys, you go. And they all climb through the fucking emergency hatch underground tunnel. And then all these secret agent guys are fighting fucking Vin Diesel. And there's like 15 guys on him. And he's holding them all back. There's one ladder behind him. And he's holding them all back. and then he pulls a fucking giant, almost like a shipping chain, off of the wall, and all that shit, all the crumbles, and he self-sacrifices himself so he can't escape. That, I can't explain to you how much that pisses me off. I don't know why I know this stuff. I don't know why I've seen it, but that annoys me more than
triggered.
Bro, I have.
He's so
There's
triggered.
so many moments in this franchise that just piss me off. And
No, I
again,
hear it.
oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
No,
calm
I
down.
hear it. No, I hear it. I hear it. There's another scene, equally fucking ridiculous. They're all being chased on some country. I don't know where they are, on like some cliffside or wherever it is. There's supposed to be like a wooden bridge. It gets taken out before they can get to it. Vin Diesel and Letty are in the car, and there's like a wooden pillar or something.
Oh my god, this is that.
You
film.
know where
Yeah.
I'm going with this.
Yes.
So he's driving, Dom's driving, Letty's like, Dom, no. He somehow hits the corner of this wooden pole or whatever it is.
Of the bridge
cable,
thing.
the
Yeah.
cable from the bridge somehow attaches itself onto the car. He
Yeah.
full force swings it off the cliff. He repels himself and launches off on the other side. The car's spinning, crashing upside down, everything. It lands, and then on the other side of the bridge, they're now safe, and they're both completely fine. They're just staring at each other like.
He's Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man with a car. He drove up to a pole where the bridge between two fucking land surfaces masses are nothing. He gets the
I
rope
need to try and find a
underneath
scene
the
now.
suspension, and then fucking Spider-Man swings to the other side. Do you know what I don't get? That's what pisses me off. If they get to the other side and they're like, "Oh my fucking god, that was 1 in a billion. That was crazy. That was this or that," or they faint or they crash, I believe it. They swing over, they stop and they keep going. They're like, "Oh, that was close."
Honestly, it was. I literally face palmed. I just stopped and was like, "Are you taking the fucking piss? What is this?"
I think that hearing that a car gets shot into space made me not want to watch this film. But all of this stuff
Honestly,
sounds
it's insane.
equally
They literally
or
shoot the
even more
car.
ridiculous.
It's something. Shoot the car into space. They hit it into a satellite, destroying everything. They don't even mention how they come down. That's it. The scene ends with them crashing into the satellite, and then before you know it, they're somehow back on Earth. They don't even explain it. They don't show it. They're just back on Earth.
They bounce onto the moon and they bounce off of the moon and they come back. Where
They
Vin
solved
Diesel's
it.
waiting for them, right? With his Bruce fucking mighty powers, and he gets the cable that was attached underneath the car and he wraps it around fucking their space car and he just pulls it down. He pulls the fucker down and then he catches it in his big, strong, graceful arms and he just lowers the car next to Letty. And they look at each other like someone's cut them up a roundabout and they're like, "Whoa, that was close." And then they drive off. That's what happens.
I bet getting car off at a roundabout would be like Vin Diesel's worst nightmare.
Bro, I've had bigger reaction.
What the hell? What am I
What
supposed
do I
to do? He
do?
just cut me up.
You know what? I think
I would have
Charlie-
rather watched that ending.
I think I'm harboring Charlie's hate for this franchise. I think I've doubled up. I'm possessed right now. Sorry. Okay, carry on, man. Carry on. I'm leading.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So just to give you some insight into why this franchise is probably ending. Budget for this movie. Again, oh no, it didn't. It was not the highest. They lowered the budget from 250 million from the last movie down to 200 million. Opening weekend in US and Canada was 70 million, so it doesn't even cover half. Gross US and Canada was 173 million, so still just underneath the budget. Gross worldwide was 726 million. So 500 mil short of the last movie from 1.2 billion. So it's slowly not cutting its losses as much.
When you say globally, I should have asked this before. When you say globally, it's like 700 mil or something. Is that including domestic and Canada, or is that
that's including US and Canada. That's including US and Canada. So gross US and Canada, just US and Canada is 173 million, but gross worldwide, including US and Canada, 726.
Okay.
Yeah, they
It's
know
a
who they're
profit,
catering for.
but yeah, they're losing a percentage of people now.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to peel away. And yeah, that's Fast 9. It's worth a watch if you've got nothing else to watch and it's just there in front of your face. Then maybe chuck it on. Got 2.5 hours to spare, but otherwise, you know.
Why would you say that? Why would you want to piss people off so much to be that triggered? If I was on a flight and they were showing Fast 9, I would somehow get off of the plane mid-flight.
Not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Okay, let's just move on to Fast 10, please.
Fast 10, I've not actually seen, so I have no idea. But I've pulled a little description
X
from it's literally just Fast X. That's it. Do you want to hear the description, or you want to try and make one up, Serhan? Because I know how much you love where this is going.
Okay, all right. So Jason Momoa, right, pops out of the sea, okay, and this is him carrying on his Aquaman role. Okay, he pops out of the sea and he's like, he goes, and he's looking at the sea and he's like, there's pollution, there's bullshit, there's human interaction, there's so much shit happening. You know, my Poseidon is fucking up. Who is to blame for this, right? And he turns and he speaks to all the dolphins of the world. There's like an ambassador meeting of all the dolphins coming together, and they're coming from each country, and they're like, everyone's like, and they're all talking about all the fucking shell companies and all the spillages of oil. And then one of them's like, by the way, there's this crew, right? They're called the they're called the Family of Furious. And they're a furious family, right? And for over 9 generations, they've done so much car shit. There's so much fossil fuels being wasted in space, on land, and in the sea that Jason Momoa was like, no, I'm done with this shit, right? So Jason Momoa comes off of land, and in this film he's a bisexual, by the way. I don't know why, but he's a bit more flamboyant than in the rest of the film. Okay,
nice, diversify. I like it.
He's diverse. He's just more flamboyant. Okay, he's dressed in a bit more floral. You know, he's dressed with the sea colors. Okay,
I get you.
And then he goes to meet Vin Diesel and he's like, listen, combining Shell and all the fossil fuel companies, you have created more of an issue than any of these companies, but I'm here to talk to you. I want to change your mind. Here's my pamphlet. And then Vin Diesel just fucking headbutts him, right? And he's like, fuck you, fuck this shit, because he doesn't understand what it's like to have a normal interaction with humans, right? But as he hits him, yeah. No. It's not he can't read, but what the line that crosses this feud is Jason Momoa goes, hey, listen, Dom, all I need to know just to put your name on, I got your name, I got your number, I just need to know what your nationality is. And that's when Vin Diesel just goes for him. He's like, fuck you, what are you trying to say? And that is how the feud of this film starts. Also, this is like Dom's neighbor's friend's cousin's pet's brother, in which when Dom was a little boy, he accidentally killed like this guy's goldfish. So that's why he's come back, because he's like, you killed my friend's neighbor's dog's pet, but also I'm king of Atlantis and you killed a fish. And that's how.
Can I add a gimmick as well?
I would watch that. As surprising as it was, I would actually watch that.
Jason Momoa's character drives a boat car.
Oh,
so that's one thing. Is like he's getting chased and then he just goes onto a river and gets away.
You know what? I just imagine him with a boat car, but in his world, that's just a boat. That's just his car vehicle, and it's just them shouting each other from the sea and from land. And you know, just Momoa's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and Dom's like, "What?" And he just keeps getting further away, and it's like, "Fossil fuels, nationality," and Dom's just like, "What? I can't hear you."
I can't hear you.
Family. And he just throws a Corona bottle into the sea, and Aquaman's like, "Fuck this!" And then that's part 2. Sorry, that's part 2.
I see. Sparks up part 2. I like it. I would rather watch that. To be honest.
Yeah. Sorry, Rick.
I don't even want to tell you what this is now, because that sounds so much better.
Yeah. Carry on.
Are you not impressed?
No, not at all. Okay, fine.
Why don't
Dom Toretto. Yeah. Dom Toretto and his family have outsmarted, outnerved, and outdriven every foe in their path. Now they
right.
confront the most lethal opponent they've ever faced. A
Global
terrifying threat, fossil fuels, emerging from the shadows of the past, who's fueled by blood revenge, and who is determined to shatter the family and destroy everything and everyone that Dom loves forever. In 2011's Fast Five, Dom and his crew took out nefarious Brazilian drug kingpin Hernan Reyes and decapitated his entire empire on a bridge in Rio de Janeiro. That's the film with the safe.
Yeah, yeah.
What they didn't know, surprise, surprise, was that Reyes' son Dante, Aquaman, Jason Momoa, I mean, sorry, witnessed it all and has spent the last 12 years masterminding a plan to make Dom pay the ultimate price. Dante's plot twist will scatter Dom's family from Los Angeles to the catacombs of Rome, from Brazil to London, and from Portugal to Antarctica. I don't know how the fuck he's doing that. New allies.
Already.
Have they? Fuck, it wouldn't surprise me. New allies will be forged and old enemies will resurface, but everything changes when Dom discovers that his now 8-year-old son, Leo, is the ultimate target of Dante's vengeance. So this random character who was apparently a son now wants to kill Dom's son.
So
there you go.
What I know about this film is a combination of trailers and just bullshit hearing. So there's a couple of things I know about this. One, the trailer shows that the film where they're pulling the safe, dragging through the streets, it's like a reconstructed scene where they pull out the safe, and then you see Jason Momoa walking and be like, kind of like, what the fuck? And then you see them driving off in that film.
Okay.
There's other thing I know in real life is, I think James Wan, as one of the major directors, leaves this franchise now. It was either 9 or 10 that he's the consistent director, and now there's a falling out, and there's rumors and bullshit. Like it's the meme and the soundbite of Vin Diesel going up to Jason Wan and being like, "Oh, Wan, like, what do you think? What do you think it's gonna be?" And Wan's like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna be the best one." And Vin Diesel's like, "Oh, have you seen that meme, right?" James Wan has permanently left the franchise now, to my knowledge, and there's rumors and rumblings that Vin Diesel's trying to become more in a director's position, like he's kind of calling the shots a bit more, or Jason Wan was made to do it by the studio, so he's pulled out. Someone else has done this film. And the third thing that I know, and I know we're going to touch on this towards the end of this film as a cameo, is for all the bullshit and rumors, the cameo at the end is The Rock.
Oh, that's the cameo.
The Rock, he's the cameo at the end. He's now shown to come back. And it's bullshit of The Rock's other franchises have failed. Black Adam has failed. He doesn't have any other franchises to fall on. So it's like, well, fuck it, I'll come back. I don't know what it might mean for part 2. But that are the main things that I know about this film.
Well, another thing I'm seeing as well, which what you just said would explain, is that they want to do another spin-off one as well, which is Hobbs and Reyes.
Which one was Reyes?
Fucking hell.
Reyes
Dante Reyes is Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa's character.
Oh, and that was another thing. I know you're going to read out the numbers, but apparently Vin Diesel wasn't happy with the numbers that this film made. It might have made a loss or more of a bomb or whatever. But there was, again, rumors and speculation that Vin Diesel was blaming Jason Momoa, saying that the way you portrayed this role has kind of like tainted the franchise. And he kind of apparently shifted blame onto Jason Momoa. I don't know if that's true, but this is the rumors and bullshit that I've heard around this film.
I think that it's like, to excuse the pun, I think everybody's in a bit of a burnout with this franchise, to be honest.
It's hitting.
It's still gonna hit that core audience, which is probably China and Saudi Arabia and all that. But like people I know and from what I've seen, I think people were falling off by the last film, by the 2017 film.
Wouldn't surprise me, man, to be honest. I mean, I haven't seen this film. I knew it was out in cinema, but I felt no inclination whatsoever to go see it. Like, I didn't even know it was the last one until I started doing all this writing, all this stuff. Like, I'm not fussed about it ending, to be honest. I feel like it's one of those franchises that has had its time and it needs to die.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
needs to either completely go away or they need to have a very long break and think about what they want to do and how they want to restore it, if they're going to restore it and do it properly, before they just keep pumping out more bullshit, because it's not going to work. That's
Yeah.
where
They
I sit
can't.
on it.
You cannot do a franchise like this long term without a plan. Like even Marvel is, forget how they've constructed and presented. I know Kevin Feige and other people, the MCU organized itself, but they had the comics to fall back on. They had core material. Fast and Furious do not. They need, it's like what I was saying before, they need to now either wait long enough until something justifies its existence or organically has an idea that's quite good. Maybe lower the budget a little bit, get back to the core audience. But you can't just, adding more of the same shit does not make something better. You're just adding more mediocrity and it's just the same.
Adding
So
more shit on top of shit. You're just getting a
shit
bigger
is
shit
still
pile.
shit. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that, man. Like,
yeah, I feel you.
They probably could have paced themselves a little bit better. Like just wanting to, again, like not create any depth, but just pile on every 2 years, just because they've got a good thing going.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like what they tried to do with the first 3 films. Like they did that too soon, and then jumping on this hype train for the next films.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's obviously been good for them at the beginning, but now they're kind of at a limit of the material because they don't have source material.
Yeah.
I think they would have taken a better leaf out of something like Mission Impossible or James Bond, because even though they're long franchises, they have like moments where they come into like in the mid, like the core of the media, if you will. You know what I mean? Like they're really in the spotlight. They'll have 2 or 3 films back to back, let's say within 6-7 years, a couple of years apart, and it's like it's what you talk about. Oh, I've enjoyed this. It's this, and then it goes away. The formula goes away long enough where when it comes back again, you're willing to enjoy. And if this was a franchise that every 3 to 4 films it disappeared for just a couple of years, went a bit quiet, and then jotted out another trilogy, I might have even been more inclined to be like, oh, this is some crazy, stupid shit. Fuck it. Let me jump back in and just dip my toe again. Rather than every 2-3 years, it's like, ba-bang, ba-bang. It's not Marvel. It doesn't have source material, as we've said. You need to justify each existence. And the justification just lessened, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just getting watered down with each movie. It's just become what it's become, man. It's not a movie you take seriously anymore. Even they know it. You don't take it seriously. It's just a spectacle. You see it for the flashy lights and the big effects, but that's it. It just become one of those movies that you put in.
I
It's
respect
crazy, though.
what it's.
Like
I
over
respect
20 years.
It's a long
21,
time.
22 years. Yeah.
I respect for what they've done. I am so happy it's dead now. I'm so happy it's drowning a little bit because I'm like, you need to be put in your place. I'm sorry, this is not an ego game, bro.
But they've
Put
got
this
2 more
shit
parts to go.
Have they really? I thought it was just part 1 and part 2.
Part 3 as well, supposedly.
So they're making the final Fast
give
X
you-
trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, Rick. Go for the numbers.
I'm saying maybe that will be the last thing that they do for it, because the numbers I'm seeing are bad. So budget, they decided to try and double down on, I'm guessing, from 250 was their highest to date. And then the last movie, they dropped it to 200 million. For whatever reason, this movie now got a budget of 340 million, an estimate. I don't know if that's mostly for covering salaries for these big actors. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Probably, yeah.
340 million was the budget at an estimate. Do you want to know the gross worldwide, or do you want to opening weekend? How do you want it? Gross worldwide?
No,
Yeah,
go for stages. I'm curious. What was it domestically?
So, opening weekend for US and Canada, it made 67 million.
Oh,
It's less than
bad.
Tokyo Drift.
That's bad.
That's
And
less
when you
than
compare,
Tokyo Drift.
when you compare the
200 million.
percentage of the budget as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's harsh. Okay.
Gross US and Canada only made, bearing in mind this movie only came out a few months ago, so it still could have a little bit more to. I don't think these numbers are going to change that much. But gross US and Canada, it made 145 million. So still almost 200 million under budget still.
Yeah.
Gross worldwide, total, including US and Canada, made 704 million. So half. Just half covered the budget.
Doubled it. Fair.
That's it.
I mean, it's not on its trend like it was before. Like it's literally, it's plateaued, hasn't it?
Yeah.
They
7
do.
was the peak, and they thought, yeah, we're gonna keep pumping it out, and it's just flopped ever since 7.
So I was onto something then. When I let go, when I checked out at 7, a lot of people followed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do know that the general. This isn't this isn't like a strict formula. I know this doesn't necessarily reflect the reality, but I know that the general consensus of a film budget is if it costs a certain amount, you generally double the budget, because it's the cost of making the film, salaries and everything, and all the people involved, and then it's cost of the advertising. So when someone gives you the budget of a film of 350 mil, let's say another 200-300 mil to advertise it around the world, that's how much more money they need to make proper profit, cashback. So no, for them that is the biggest budget and the lowest income they've had so far. Is
lowest return they've had so far. And they were rinsing Tokyo Drift because it didn't make that much. This had 200 million more than the budget, if not 250 million more, and made hardly anything compared.
If they listen to what's happening to their numbers, their money, and audience consensus, I will give them their dues, because a lot of franchises don't know when to stop. So if the fact that they're going to say, all right, we'll go out with a bang, cool, I can respect that. But, I just hope in one of these last films that one person just walks up to Vin Diesel and just either smacks or just tips the Corona out of his hand. Just both. And then they can
I
do the
don't
next
like
10 films
Corona.
about that. I've never liked Corona. I'm a Budweiser kind of guy. Get out of here.
I do wonder, like, because usually with these films in parts, they will do concurrent filming. So I wonder how the budget works out in that regard.
I don't actually know,
We'll have to see by the time the next one comes out.
My back.
Next one
But,
comes out, but yeah.
Yeah. Not an amazing film. I'm not super fussed. I feel like it had its peak. It kind of knew what it was. It tried to make it work and milk it, and it worked for a small period. But then I think they just kind of outgrew themselves, man. It's kind of a bit silly. Also grew up, and the franchise didn't.
They diversified too quickly, and then they didn't diversify enough. I think is what happened.
Yeah.
And it's just a result of it being,
true.
that 2001 film breaking into the scene and then just trying to recoup from there.
Yeah, it tries to do what it can, but it's not hitting where it wants to hit. So it kind of shows, to be honest. I don't think I even needed to do all this research into it to tell you that Fast 10 is going to be shit. Because
I don't know if it's showing my attention span or just how memorable the films are, but I was honestly about to say to you, oh, by the way, could you read out the synopsis? And just remembering you already read out the synopsis.
Yeah, it's not amazing, man. Essentially, it needs to go away now and think long and hard about what it wants to do before shoving more shit down everyone's throat.
What would have been cool, I think, because I think, like I said, everybody kind of checked out at Fast 7. And
Yeah.
so those last 3 films really could have been its own kind of like trilogy.
That would have been kind of cool.
Then they
That
could
would
have
have been
added maybe a bit more depth, a bit more connection
Some-
instead of just trying to out-spectacle the last one.
Yeah.
It's something.
Fraser, for the love of God, stop. Be very mindful of what you say on the internet. Someone will hear you and be like, "That's our next trilogy."
They'll probably
Right.
start a Burnout series.
A Burnout series. I would
Need for
watch.
Speed.
I would watch.
Dun,
They
dun,
made-
dun, 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 dun.
I think
Jesse.
there was a Need for Speed film.
Aaron Paul. Yeah, Jesse. They made a Need for Speed movie with him. I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
that just sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible. It looks terrible. But yeah, boys, that was all pretty much the Fast and Furious trilogy. Trilogy? Not even fucking
Not
close.
even a trilogy.
Not even close. Franchise.
The triple trilogy, and no,
century.
the quadruple trilogy. If Fast and Furious X is another trilogy, then that's 4 trilogies. Fuck, that's too many.
Something like that, yeah. So that was all I had, guys. Do you have any closing thoughts or statements on the franchise as a whole? Any messages to the producers or actors or individuals involved in making these masterpieces?
I hope
Good stuff.
the next time, I hope that the next time you have a Corona, it's room temperature.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh.
I went there, bro.
That's on the internet. That's there forever now, mate.
I'm telling you, man, I'm done with this shit.
All right, boys. That's all for me. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, Rick, good.
No,
good.
it's
Well done.
yeah, great summary there. Yeah,
Cheers.
it's eye-opening to sort of see how the series developed, like quote unquote developed since 2001, and you can definitely see where the holes start to form, and where it could have been a bit better. But it is what it is. It's milked it for all it's had, and yeah, hopefully it goes away.
Hopefully it goes away. Well said, Fraser. Okay, well, from me, I've been Rick. Thank you for listening.
From me,
I've been Rick. So do you want to sign yourselves out, guys?
I've been Fraser.
And I have been Serhan.
And we
Furious.
are Red Jackson. Oh,
Minus Charlie.
Furious. The furious Red Jackson. That doesn't really work, does it? Red.
With the furious,
Jack-
the
With a
Furious
fast
song.
4.
no, with the furious Jackson, with the furious Red Jacksons.
Furious Red Jack. Fuck it, that'll work for now. Furious Red Jacksons. We'll use it as a placeholder. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you listen to this, and we will catch you in
Good night.
the next one.
Dun, dun,
Thank you and good night.
dun, dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun, dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun, dun, dun.
I